Hello everybody and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 12 Playoffs, Week 1. We got This is Sparta. We got Radiant Straits. We got no little indicators lighting up for them even though this is Game 2.
Yep, that's true.
We got me, we got the Doctor of Dota, Randy, and we got the guy who annexed Madagascar for France, Lambert.
Yes.
Once again, kicking off with the ban on the pit lord here. Sparta knocking out the Spirit Breaker real early. It's very interesting. Who on your lineup plays Spirit Breaker all that regularly? Cranberry?
We have 4 Spirit Breaker players.
Wow. Alright.
That's
Here's-
true, but I can't think of a...
It's the most broken hero in Dota right now. It's picked every game.
That's
It's true.
I would humbly like to request a patch, please.
Yeah, it seems like it's been for fucking ever since the patch.
It's been the longest match, yeah.
We've had the little Chinese tournament come and go. All right, we all know what's going on now. Can we finally have a goddamn patch sort some of this out? Can we finally have a patch that like gets rid of the leveler and shit?
I like the patch for as a carry because it's not like what was it like 2 patches ago where it was like you either play Terrorblade, you play Luna, or you play like one other, or you play like Drow or something.
Yeah,
There was,
yeah.
like, a patch where it was like you saw Luna versus Terrorblade every single game.
The pre-TI patch was a really bad time for ones. Like the era where it was just games lasted like 20 minutes every single time, no matter what anybody did, basically. Got some interesting picks in this lineup here. Looks like we got 2 little flex picks early on as well, and the Silencer and the Windrunner on opposing teams here. Neither one of these guys you could really pin down as far as where they're going to be. You can make assumption. I'm going to assume, until given a reason not to, it's probably going to be Princess on Windrunner here, because it is one of the waifu club.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the waifu set.
Radiant Straits here.
Yeah, double shackles and double focus fire, which doesn't do anything.
Radiant Straits appears to think that they're playing up against the either Lich or Panic at the Roche Pit and are banning out the X3/Banana Stand player pool now, or hero pool.
10 seconds remaining.
On the other hand, we got the
Big
PL
Boy
ban
LaCroix has
again.
also played all those heroes, so...
There was like a... I think I cursed you, actually, Lambert, because early on I accidentally mixed you and Chris, who I can loves Peru, Backdoor Boys Chris's hero pools up, and I was mentioning very strong PL performance by Lambert in Week 1. I was actually talking about Chris, but I noticed they've been banning it against you guys ever since.
I mean, PL is my 3rd most played carry still.
True. Well, I'd like to think it's because I said that on air and now everybody's just looking for it.
That's fair.
Banning out the best of, by the way. Knocking out the Quap Brewmaster and the Monkey King from last game.
Yep.
Actually, both teams kind of looking at a best of situation in here, though. Radiant Straits more of like a long-term best of than the Sparta ban list.
5 seconds remaining.
So far, 3 of the 5 heroes that were picked for us last game have been banned.
Yep.
Sure, not running that one back.
On the other hand, you've banned out the Snapfire.
Bad. Getting people off of their comforts is always a good choice.
It's true. I've been under the impression. I do feel like in the LD2L there is a bit of an overemphasis on the comfort ban sometimes. Something I was really drilling Kid Dynamite on late into the season for him. It's just like the art of banning is not knowing what to get rid of; it's knowing what to let through. And I think people kind of lose that sometimes.
I think that's a double-edged sword.
That's true, but it's a double-edged sword that I feel like one of those sides can be really, really sharp if you know how to play it right. Like one thing I said against when I was talking Roche Riders is like, let the Pudge through and counterpick it. Pudge is one of the most dramatically countered heroes in the game. You pick up like a Lifestealer and a Bat, and he really can't do anything at all.
But if you don't know how to play against it, and you let it
Then
through,
you let it through. You're just gonna get messed up.
lose.
It's just that's just a matter of game sense. So it's just a matter of learning the counters, learning how to deal with people.
Yeah.
you should play to
is-
your comforts more so than anything else. That's what I've
Lean
had
into your
to
strength.
best first, I guess I would say.
Dire team pick.
Right.
This is the same mindset that told LGD not to ban Magnus in Game 5, so...
I mean, hey, that was a bad example of what to let through because they didn't actually draft a counter to Magnus as a result.
10 seconds.
At least not the way it was being played there.
It's a hero that can move you from sieging towers into the enemy team's fountain.
Yeah,
2 spells. Like
there was no real
there's,
counter to Magnus
there's
at the
really
time.
nothing you can do about it. It was like an iteration of the Pudge Hook.
I also like how, oh, Razor and Clockwork, huh? Slardar not happy to see the Razors there for sure. Neither is Silencer probably, if that is a core Silencer. Likely not going to be, but
yeah.
in either case it still sucks for him.
10 seconds remaining.
Not
You can
as
double
bad,
link
but...
people, I think.
5 seconds remaining.
That's always fun.
Yeah, I can double link people. And Windrunner can double old people.
That doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's true, but it is funny. I think it technically does, in that if you switch targets, it will, like, work properly. So, you know, you just kill one person and then quickly kill the other. And you also have the double shackles to help you with that, which is a real goddamn mess.
Dire team back. Naga Siren.
Here comes the Naga Siren. Actually, a pretty good lineup to make use of everything Grimstroke's got so far. Philoslot would be happy if he were here, but sadly he passed away at the young age of 55. Naga Siren. Randy, I know you have a very peculiar stance. Not peculiar, but you have a very defined stance on the old Naga Siren. Why don't you remind everyone at home what you think of the Naga Siren ult?
I have a defined. Oh, the Naga ult. Okay. There's a difference between a good Naga player and a not so good Naga player, in that the not good Naga player will just use their ult defensively, and the good Naga player will use it to set up fights rather than, you know, not do anything with it.
My thought on that, of course, has always been, because I always must disagree, I am playing devil's advocate here, as you're very familiar with.
Oh yeah.
My stance has always been, that depends on how the situation goes. There are some games where you really are not going to have any sort of opportunity to sing in, basically. This might actually be one of those games. This is going to be really hard, guys, to actually engage
Well,
on.
in those situations, you don't pick Naga.
Damn. I don't know, I think it's a good enough disengage where you can't pick it.
You're just like chopping off half your potential for no reason. Just pick a carry who has better disengage. You know.
The question is, who does
Also
have better
doesn't have that
disengage, and
disadvantage.
especially who has better disengage that helps more than just themselves, which is a big part of the Naga ult.
I don't know. Usually you pick the disengage on someone else, like you pick a Willow or something.
That's true, but hey, if you can fit it in, it's another tool in the arsenal. Always another tool. Being another tool, you'd be a tool if you thought this last pick was going to be Sand King, Drow, Puck, or Sniper. Very similar, roster of bands here as last game. Aside from the addition of what Radiant Straits ran in round 1 for Sparta. And Radiant Straits, by the way, of course, on the Dire.
Yeah, well, of course.
It's a staple. I feel like you're gonna keep saying that, and someone's gonna pick Dire against us.
Yeah.
One of these weeks.
Well, the thing I was thinking
We're
is,
just gonna have to GG, we won't be allowed to play it.
hey, yeah, the thing I was thinking is, if you guys get to finals, the last game, you should definitely pick, like if it's best of 1, right? If you go 2-2, last game, you should definitely pick Radiant just to have one on record. Grand finale. Speaking of grand finale, taking a minute to pick out here.
Radiant team pick.
Never mind.
Be like
Picking a
Rock
tight
Lee
ender.
picking up his bracers. We'll unleash our full power if we play on the Radiant side.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Let's
don't
go like 50-0 or something.
Yeah. You'll spawn. Your starting item will be a Midas.
Yep. Wouldn't that be a dream?
And the Viper.
Choose your hero.
Now that's interesting. Very, very interesting pick actually, because there's a lot of nice, like, weird reverse Medusa Razor set.
I got
Oh my
own little
god,
bike,
I love Cranberry Sprite's Clockwork set. That is fantastic. I want that. And we don't know what the Naga Siren set looks like because Big Boy is censoring it. Dude, they got
Yeah.
Naga in Slardar, and Slardar
Yeah,
even
they do.
looks like he's like protecting her. Dude, that's lore. That's fucking lore, dude.
Pretty sure at one point Lads made a statement about, wow, we have 3 fish in this game.
That is not what Lad sounds like.
That's how he sounds like to me.
Oh, jeez, I'm Lad. That is not him. I have been in a call with that guy. It is not what he sounds like.
No, well.
No, I tell you what Lad sounds like. He sounds like in real life, he's like 6'8" and built like a fridge. Yeah, Lad sounds like
Isn't it magical, Papa?
No, it's not magical at all.
Like that. Sounds like that.
Yeah, that was actually me doing an impression of his voice. There you go.
Where was that Naga set for you if you wanted to see it?
Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Lad. We're gonna do some fun this game. That's Lad. That's Lad.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Could
We're gonna have some fun. Tell you what I like in this on the Sparta lineup. I like the Viper pick. I actually really like it. There's a lot of passes on this lineup. They do not
Starting
like
out?
getting rid
Starting
of.
out with the net worth lead, that's what you like to see?
Oh yeah.
That's true.
Oh, that
Radiant
reminds
Bulwark
me.
consumables.
I was gonna look at Cranberry Sprite's little statue. I was gonna do this like 4 weeks ago. It's just Timbersaw. I was looking this hard for Timbersaw, and I didn't even notice this. What'd that say? I come to put an end to magic? That ain't anti-mage. Oh, it's an end to hope.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And then, of course, you have this. No comment. #1 support in A.
By
There it
a
is.
guy who doesn't play any sports.
That is a very, very unflattering looking frame for old CM there. And this is the Ancient. Just in case you wanted to know what that was like. And finally, that was not worth looking at.
That feels about right. So yeah, at the start of this game, it was 4v5, and Jackie kept saying G question mark? And we were like, what? And
poor Matty boy, dude.
We weren't really sure if he was serious or not. And then Matty joined.
Poor Matty, dude. I said this off camera. Why didn't he pick up the room? Well, now he deserves it. I said this off camera while we were waiting. I think we talk a lot about Petcack, but I think it's actually Matty Boy who gets like the most undue crap of anybody in the whole league. Hey, some of it's due. Some of it's due.
He can take it though.
I hope
Not
so.
everyone can.
I hope so. He better be able to
The
take it. I
river's
mean,
empty.
He can.
if he's just like if he's just internalizing it, and he can't really take it all that well. There's gonna be some blood. It's gonna be hell to pay. Absolutely perfect. But yeah, the Viper pick, I really like it. There's a lot of passes you don't like to see on that lineup, and also a lot of passes that you don't like to lose on that lineup. Especially yours, Lambert. You don't like to lose that shit. You don't like to be slow. I believe that also knocks out the Ag shard as well, which you don't seem to buy much, but I really like. Tide gets rid of that. I mean, that
It's
really
a game by game
sucks.
thing.
The magic damage in the ult in particular is gonna really screw up one runner for quite a long time. Viper, not one of the heroes she can deal with all that well, because he can just, you know, it doesn't matter how much when she's running, he can just spit on her, and she's gonna be taking a lot of damage from corrosive anyway. And of course, Clockwork, he just can't be in gears anywhere near the Viper, or else he's just gonna die. So yeah, I like the Viper pick. I like it with the Slardar pick. I feel like, even though Razor individually is going to counter the Slardar out, I feel like the ult with the Viper and the Naga is going to get a lot done. I like the Sparta lineup. It still remains to be seen how it's going to be executed, though. And this is not a great way to start the execution here. You're just too fast for old Big Boy as he just loses all of his HP. This ain't
Oh
good.
boy, poor Matty.
I like the...
Totally dead.
Oh! Oh no, baby, this ain't good. Okay. He is able to get it off. Slardar punishing Pages for the insolence there. Buys out this dickhead a lot of time to get some waves in. They are regenning up pretty quick order. Still have a salve left over on Maddie.
CS lol, by the way.
I hate CSing with Razor. Cause you either overhit or you underhit, and it's hard to feel.
Yeah, there's a hero that you're gonna just be constantly screwing like that. It is Razor. Oh, Titan are really super low here. No Kraken Shell yet.
He is, but Naga doesn't necessarily have the tools to kill him here. Especially if she gets cogs.
Pretty good save from Granberry there. Just good timing on the cogs. Deceptively hard skill to time the cogs. You can easily with that. Or, on the other hand, you can easily just go way too late on it. Comes back in to get some harass here. I just noticed, actually, by the way. Maddie's 4 and Ask Ulter has moved into 5 here for this game. Not big on that.
I feel like Naga's probably like one of the more useless heroes in lane as well.
Right.
Can't do much.
Not super big on this. I feel like Silencer, I've said this before, I feel like Silencer just needs money and that little bit of extra gold that Bang 4 gets you. A lot more than Jakiro does, or can make anything out of it, so...
Denied.
It's a bit unfortunate. I guess that's probably more just to try and, you know, sort of similar to what the actual MF Doom drafting strategy was. Just has somebody in lane to keep Matty Boy on the board so you can scope out, get a feel, and not just eat it as the game kind of gets in. Against Slardar, just getting all his damage stolen. Boy needs boots ASAP. Big Boix LaCroix, he definitely needs to go to the old cobbler, get himself a nice pair of shoes. There we go, he has gotten some. He's also probably going to have to put more levels into sprint than he really wants to early game as Slardar.
Doing -1 attack damage there. He heals the creep for 1 HP every time he hits it.
Nice. Mostly equivalent, or at least fairly equivalent laning here. The eve of 5 minutes, he split between first place. Oh, getting kicked off the desk at TI. Let's see what happens. Oh man, it has to be Maddie too. Beep. Yep, just gets run over by a lane Jakiro. Poor Jakiro really doesn't have a lot to do here either. That's another part of me not liking this lane switch up. Jakiro does not have much to do, especially without the ice pad, and he does not have it.
It's not like Silencer would have been any less dead if that happened to him.
Yeah, in that specific case, but I feel like Silencer would at the very least, you know, like a good silence, well-timed, could at the very least prevent some of the follow-up from like the Grimstroke. Like, you know, he has to choose whether to silence or Inkswell, yeah. Just loses out a big chunk of his damage. Big Boy LaCroix, he's gonna try and TP here. I don't think there was any world where that was working for him, unfortunately. Never burn it to death here from the dual breath, though. Matty Boy got one! Alright, Matty Boy. Friend of the show, Matty Boy. We're all cheering for you here, buddy.
Yeah, except Lambert.
Yeah, we're all cheering for you, including the guy you just killed to prompt this exchange.
I was happy with the death. I had a 3rd mana and almost no HP. I had no regen.
Yeah, free TP back to base.
Free TP back to base, full HP, full mana.
One thing here that is of interest as well is well, never mind, just got the heat back. One thing of interest here as well, Clockwork and Tide are gonna have a bit of trouble actually killing Naga here. Neither one of them the most ideal guy for the job, you know. As we've just seen there, for example, Naga just hits Mirror Image and Cogs, and then Clockwork is the one who immediately has to get the hell out of there. Tidehunter really just can't do enough damage to her. Though, if this happens,
maybe
certainly.
He can. There you go.
Certainly. I guess Giraffe got a Discord message or something. Checking his texts. Here comes Princess. Up here to the offlane, because this just wasn't going bad enough for the Radiant, I guess.
Poor Matty Boy.
Jakiro. Yep, Jakiro going down. Viper TPing in to respond. But Viper can't quite decide who he wants. Goes for Grim the last second. Grim just TPs right out of town.
Yep.
As a result, just gets nothing done, unfortunately, for him. You know, Randy, there's a saying I always like to make there, right? It's the quote for when you research hunting in Civ 4. When you chase two rabbits, you lose them both, and it wasn't long, but that was definitely a sort of hesitation moment, I think, for Jackie, unfortunately for him. Clockwork getting one last. I like Clockwork's auto attack animation because it makes the one last hit before you walk away really funny. You just walk up, punch Silencer in the back of the head, and then just walk away. It doesn't even look like it should hurt that much, especially given like the size and build of the other Dota heroes.
It's like getting whacked with a ruler.
Yeah.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I don't even know what the weapon is with this set.
With what set? The clock set? It's nothing, he just punches people. Unless you mean your own set, in which case it's just the standard weird razor whip.
No, the clock set. Because it's a new dinosaur one.
Yeah, it's just he just punches people. And now he's gonna punch people invisibly.
He's got a little monkey wrench.
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses that for the hook though. Looks like there was a bit of a gank attempt on the Viper here mid. Kinda seems to have backfired. Viper just getting a free kill and getting out of there. I was going to take a look back at it, but somebody just came online, so that's not happening anymore. Missing a lot of kills. A lot of 100 to 0s going on here. A lot of lads taking a lot of damage off of this. He better have a... He does have this Ring of Health, but I think he might be overestimating a little bit just how much it's going to be doing for him. Ass Culture does not want to...
go in.
Yeah. Does not want to finish the job, though. Got the Ink Slow coming in. Well-timed Dual Breath kind of puts the brakes on anything happening of that, though. Get your passive, bro. Come on. Slardar is at least going to protest the basically inevitable death of his support.
Oh man!
But here we got Viper. Viper and Silencer both coming in response. Lambert going down. Clockwork going down. Ooh, everything went wrong for the Radiant Straits there. Big turnaround from Sparta. Well timed. Well timed, both on the part of Viper and the Silencer there. After kind of having a bit of a miscue the first run-in, Jackie Chen back in the standard fashion up here with Big Boy LaCroix. You know, Jack, it's an interesting little scenario matchup here. You know, it's probably not going to be on anybody's like early season dream matches, but it is an interesting scenario of the Jackie and Big Boy combo versus the Lambert and Princess combo. Like I implied in the first round, I think they kind of have a very similar sort of connection as well.
Right.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Radiant Straits absolutely will not let this tower go down. They know it's tradition for the Radiant T1 bot to go down first, but unfortunately, no such luck.
I guess started the jungle farm mission.
Yep. Naga is just completely out of lane by this point. As the rest of Naga's team has tried to basically just gone into the mid game early here. Check out that net worth chart, baby. Naga well ahead of the crowd, though tied under, not far behind. Not very far at all. Ooh, Slardar.
Oh no.
Not looking too great here. Good timing on the stun, but not good enough, unfortunately. Well, there was no timing that was good enough, I don't think.
It's a big
Lots of ults going off for Jackie Chen here. Man must feel honored, and Lambert's dead. Didn't change tower aggro.
Lots of DOTs in the team.
It sure is. Lots of DOTs, lots of
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
lots of armor break as well. You know, you have the Naga Siren armor break and the Slardar armor break as well. And it would not be out of question at all for a, you know, Jakiro or Silencer, somebody to be putting up a Solar Crest at some point. I thought G-Ravs was getting beat up here, but it was, I mean, he was. It's just by potato and tomato. What was the process of getting an Android sponsorship? Oh shit, never mind. Shihiro getting jumped right in on Clockwork, but as I said, as sort of aforementioned, Clockwork just can't be anywhere near Viper without just dying instantly. Just Spit goes in, he goes out. Lambert getting chased to hell here. Again, that Slardar and Viper combo, as mentioned, man, that is some nasty business. It's on two guys who can get the work done. It is going to be an early game focus thing, though. If they can buy time, Naga is going to, I definitely think Naga is going to be able to outscale here as well. Outscale Razor fairly handily, no less. And worse yet is sort of an individual counter to the hero. Naga doesn't care that much about her own auto attack damage personally getting evaporated at certain points of the game, if she can just beat you up with all her illusions and kill you with Radiance, or if she needs to just sing, walk 5 inches away, then come back and beat you up some more, you know? Matty Boy getting messed up by everyone here. Everybody wants to be the legend that stopped the Matty Boy.
Yeah.
Fire as well as ice. I don't know why I just heard that, but there you go. It's like Princess is going to eat Slardar here with Clockwork Self.
Oh, man.
It's taking a long time to get the
that's-
job done, but down he goes. Just an Invis rune there. I wonder if that's going to prompt him to start. Yep, it is true. They do have detection there. I wonder if that's going to prompt him to start thinking that that's a Shadow Blade or something.
Is under attack.
Matty Boy and Lad of Lads having a little powwow in the jungle here.
Yeah, for sure.
Matty definitely needs some levels. I can tell you at this point, a Jakiro in the mid game with no levels of Ice Path is as good as no hero at all, basically. You are more or less just a big catapult with a DOT attack right now. Lots of fighting, lots of beefing over this little spot in the Radiant jungle, as Princess just takes to the side lanes to start splitting out.
I take what I please.
Bonk.
Dire are scanning.
Viper looking to get a very quick Atos up, not exactly unexpected. Meanwhile, Lambert appears to be charging right for up. Oh no, baby! Oh, that's not a good sign. The Matty Boy immediately had a different game plan from Asculter 3 there, as far as how the Grimstroke ult went, and as a result, he got away there, though he might not get away from this. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Little silence
certainly
comes
not.
out. It's a little late, but does not save the Jakiro, but at the very least, likely stopped anything worse from happening there.
It was a 4-way shared bounty, so.
Yep, split kill.
No, not the
Never like
greatest,
seeing the split kill, especially on the enemy pos 5. That's almost almost worth less than just doing the creep
sure it was
wave.
less than a creep.
Yeah.
Oh, it was infinitely less than a creep wave. I think it was one melee creep.
So, yeah, as I was saying, going right for the Maelstrom into BKB there, just to try and keep lore alive, I guess. You know, you're playing as Razor, you got to get the electric things, you know.
Yeah.
The sparkier the better, right?
Right. If only it was still like the old Maelstrom / Mjolnir, where you could just get 6 of them, just be sparking lightning every shot. I think that might still work. I can't remember a point where it changed necessarily, but I don't think it does. I haven't seen anybody do that in years. Big boy LaCroix again, getting pretty caught here.
Rather said.
So again, this Windrunner Clockwork combination just really has the fix to the ill Slardar's given him. I feel like poor Slardar, he needs to just kind of accept reality here. Every time he goes into this jungle, he dies. He just can't be there. Not without better vision than a couple of sentries, anyway.
You can't do anything else, so he gets a blink, though.
Well, of course he can. He can push out waves in other lanes. I mean, not this one, obviously. He can push out waves in other lanes. He can throw out ults in fights. I mean, hell, you don't necessarily... well, one big thing for him as well. You know, you get a clockwork ult in. You know, Big Boy just stands at the other side of the gear, so you just can't get the hell out of there. People underestimate what Slaughter can do. Slaughter players, perhaps most of all, underestimate exactly how much Slaughter can actually do, even before
Right.
Blank. Still has a lot of fist damage to bring to the table. He's got a high amount of speed. He's got that armor break, which I think one of the most understated, underrated things is armor break. There was one patch where everybody was all about it. Nowadays, people kind of sleep on it, even though it does a lot of good for you. Silencer gets one-man ulted, and then silenced for his impertinence. How dare you not get somebody else chained to you? Is probably
Did a good job
Wiggins.
staying away from Mighty Boy there at least.
Yeah. Oh look, a Vambrace! Sort of actually kind
Wow.
of near the danger zone
Favorite
again.
item.
Once again, a kind of Enium here in the jungle to deal with the guy. He does have the Blink Dagger this time at least.
Radiant
It's something to play
structures
with.
are fortified.
Actually chooses not to ult the Slaughter there, not Slaughter, not to ult the Tide there for some reason.
Hey Lambert, do you know that Anani always flames people who keep Vambrace over other items?
I do. I think it's the most overrated jungle item in the game. Like, there's so many better T3 and 4 items. Not to say that Vambrace is bad necessarily, it's just that people will be still be hanging on to Vambrace at like T4, and there'll be 90 better things in the pool.
The only
It's just like,
the
get
only
out of here.
Vambrace on a int hero with the spell amp is the only time it should be used past the tier 2
Yep.
item.
You
I
were
agree
trying to
with
throw
that.
me under the bus, and and Lambert backs me up. How about that, Randy? Son of a bitch.
Sure, I think I shouldn't have gone for that with someone who plays a lot of agi carries, because Aquila is always better than Vambrace.
It's like what, 10 attack speed or 10 magic resistance or 10% spell amp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10% spell amp is a lot.
Once again, Big Boy getting caught in the jungle. It did take a minute this time, but once again, it's just happening. Like, you know what the definition of insanity is, right? Big Boy is, something's off for Big Boy today. He might be sick, he might be, like, losing his sight, losing his mind. And other Papa Roach lyrics, I mean,
Is under attack.
it's not fun to watch, man. I'm big on the Big Boy. It's hard seeing a boy like this. Speaking of hard seeing him like this, poor Jakiro, once again, just eating it. Slardar coming in wants to get a little bit of revenge for his trouble here, at least. Now, this time it's not going to die with no response. Unfortunately,
Okay, good Ravage.
yep, Ravage, the stun on the Titan immediately gets knocked out. Great Ravage in response. We got a song of the Siren here, but it's just, unfortunately, it's just a little late. I like Tide blinking
she's
into
still
the
in trouble.
song.
Is under attack.
Yep. I don't mean too late for the Radiant, or too late for the Dire. I mean it's too late for the Radiant. It didn't save anybody, including herself, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh
two,
my god.
two people in the gears with Viper away. The clock will play. Two in the gears. They both go down. He goes down for it too, but he's still got a smile on his face for sure. Cranberry spray, man. He can do it when it counts. It feels like.
You just gotta put him on a hero that he wants to die on.
Right. It's an interesting. It's he's one of the more interesting fours. I feel like Cranberry Sprite has an inconsistent performance factor that's almost in his favor. Where sometimes, like very rarely will you see Sprite just completely suck. You'll usually do like, okay, you'll have like a 5 out of 10 game, and then sometimes he'll just randomly pull out like a 9 out of nowhere. Always interesting
Good
to
shackle.
see. Very good
Oh,
shackle
that
there.
shackle's nasty.
Silencing on the Slardar as he just walks away. Magpire to dissuade.
Sparta's falling apart.
Yeah, the wheels are really coming off the bus for him now. There is one good sign for them. Naga is still second highest net worth on the team. Getting the clockwork here, but the Naga illusions just beating him up in the gears. That's really sad.
Tower is under attack.
That's the unfortunate thing for Clockwork. Usually the in spite of speech is something for Sparta. Cranberry's doing a good job this game in spite of the pick, because Clockwork really is not going to have much to offer for most of this game. Just kind of gets too countered by basically everybody on the Radiant lineup.
So much more.
He's also the only one who seems really dying to any,
That is true.
reasonable degree right now. Ever
So
since the slide kind of started for Sparta.
So if Clockwork was a different hero, then nobody would be dying, and everything would be good in the world for Radiant Straits.
Cranberry finds a way.
That's true. That's true. I definitely tell you this much. I like the lineup for Sparta, but they're kind of executing it. I don't like the execution as seen here. I feel like the funny thing is, I feel like Sparta's trying to play too far out of their normal playbook here. I think they're just trying to, and I've talked about before, if it doesn't work, change it. If you want to try and do something cool, flip the script. Sparta's trying to play like a Panic. Sparta's trying to play like a Backdoor Boys here, I think. They're trying to play, well, funnily enough, like you guys, like a Radiant Straits, I think more than anything, like a very big puzzle and focused team. Everybody's just trying to split, farm, go late. And hey, they do win late, so credit to them there. But the way they're splitting, it's just giving Radiant Straits a lot of opportunities to do things like this to them.
A lot of people think Razor isn't that hard of a carry when it comes to the later game, but I disagree.
You can carry quite hard, yeah.
I think it scales quite well, actually.
He needs a good opponent specifically to match himself up with, because he only really scales to most Pause 1 steer if he's consistently getting a lot of damage every fight. If he's not, ain't nothing. And I mean a lot of damage. Hopefully and ideally from the enemy Pause 1. Sung here just to
Oh, really?
ooh.
Okay,
Good
good
blink
blink
there.
away.
A lot of stuff on a lot of lads, but man, it's Tidehunter, and he's got some dank on him. Taking an Herculean amount of effort to get rid of him.
Yeah, actually, ridiculous. But he will
Still
die.
goes down to Jackie Chen,
To
no
help
less.
the break from the Viper.
Was it worth it though?
And Slaughter immediately going back in again. Getting tied up to G-Rap
Oh
here.
no, Naga!
Yep. The very good Grimstroke ult basically leads to the deaths of both Big Boy and G-Rap there. Both.
Viper died there too with this.
Grimstroke into the
Shuck
double
was-
leash.
Yeah.
The again, that was another situation like we saw earlier in the match with Ass Culture and Matty Boy, where Big Boy and G-Raf / Beatus, they had two very different ideas of what the hell to do when they were chained up together, tried to run two different ways. They ended up doing the thing that Shaggy and Scooby do when they see a monster just running in place, going nowhere, except usually they don't die as a result of that, and Scooby do. At least I don't think they do. I don't know, I'm not the expert.
That's not what they show us, at least.
The behind the scenes footage would show that. Of the documentary.
Yeah, it really happened. They just like cleaned it up for TV. That'd be like the weirdest conspiracy theory ever.
You just find new people every week.
Yeah. It's like a sacrificial thing, like you're just part of the cult. You're part of the Shaggies or the Scoobies.
Shaggy's the most powerful character in the entire universe. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, the original Shaggy is, but not like all the jabroni Shaggies, they get to play him.
You know what?
And that's how he maintains his power. They like sacrifice
They
fake
sacrifice
Shaggies.
fake Shaggies. Yep.
There you go.
In Zombie Island, the movie starts with Shaggy as like a. He's working with Scooby at an airport, and Scooby's a drug sniffing dog, and they get fired because Shaggy just does all the drugs that he confiscates.
Again, Big Boy LaCroix. This has got to be his
Yep.
worst KDA in the entire series so far, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, it is the weakest series too, at a really pivotal moment.
Yeah. I really gotta wonder what happened. I guess we'll talk about that after the game. Maybe we'll get Big Boy on for the next game and be able to ask him what the hell happened. That doesn't seem likely because Big Boy is one of the he's like one of the North Korea sorts of guys. I mean, the whole Sparta team is like the North Korea team in this league. Like, you never see any of them except for Beatus talk or say things or do anything. Jackie Chen, Jackie Chen shows up more in the comment section of my YouTube channel than he does in the LD2L Discord server. I just
Oh, they
always
have
found that
Naga
wild.
again. Ah,
And Naga just getting picked
Yep.
here.
this one's,
Again.
this one's looking out of reach. I'm afraid.
The issue is, I feel like the way Sparta ended up trying to play this, they tried to play this like a very, one focused lineup. They tried to play this like a split up farm, go late, let the supports die to save kind of situation. But the way they split it up, I think Radiant Straits, both from their lineup and from their actual execution, did a very good job punishing them for it. It just never seemed, it just seems like every single time somebody splits off the farm, they just die. every single time. I think the solution should have really just been, again, I think it's some underestimation of what Slardar can do early, perhaps overestimation of what he can do late on the other side of the coin. Underestimation of the Naga ult, perhaps, you know. There's definitely a situation where she's had a lot of good opportunities to song in, just hasn't really been doing it.
I also don't think Ag's second item is going to help you do anything when it comes to the mid game.
Well, Eggs as an item is going to help you do a lot when it comes to the mid game if you're using it offensively.
It'll keep people in Nether Toxin, but it only affects BKB targets.
Odd song
Like
there.
you! Yeah, that was
but
kind of strange.
It's keeping a BKB target in place that's not being damaged because it has a BKB.
Right.
Like, I don't really.
Yeah, she
When
personally
you don't have
doesn't-
a bunch of
I
physical
think
damage
it's
or
I think
something
it's
to
less for the offensive purpose of it and more just as part of a disengage or perhaps part of you know, song in, snare you while you're BKB'd, wait out the BKB, song in the song, and then just beat you up, perhaps. It's hard to say.
There was
I don't know.
also a stolen rampage right there. by
The stolen
Peaches.
rampage by
That's true.
Peaches.
By
Ooh,
pages.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
nasty business. And speaking of Solar Crest, we do have one coming out, but it's on the Grimstroke. Yeah, I mean, it's well, I'm going to hold what I'm about to say because Sparta have to actually not win this game first before I can really go into what I'm saying here.
There's a good chance of that.
Yeah, there is a good chance. The wheels are unfortunately coming off the bus here for them, I think, very large way. I do still think, again, I don't think this is over. It's just very unlikely for Sparta right now.
I think this series supports my my thesis about Sparta as a team.
I think it's just confirmation bias, brother.
I'm unaware of this thesis.
You'll get to hear it after the game.
Yep. Good global silence there, just not quite in time. I like the buyback for the global silence just to try and save its buddy there. It's a very selfless act of old ass culture, but just doesn't get it done, unfortunately. It's another unfortunate thing. I feel like the early silencer pick actually really backfired on them here. Theoretically, it's really good because that's just another guy who scales all into the late game. You know, silencer is a 4, but sometimes with some of these 4s, like the 4 silencer, like the 4 weaver, if the game goes long enough, eventually they will just start really noticeably outscaling the opposing supports. But yeah, I just don't really see that happening this game. The actual global silence, like there's one person who the global silence really messes up in the way they've been having to deploy it this game. That's Tidehunter, and whoops, he has Kraken Shell, so what does that matter?
See, it's not happening because Silencer is extremely dependent on Insteel to scale. If he
Right.
doesn't get any in, he doesn't scale.
Right. And is Insteel right now, not great. So in theory, I definitely see where this pick was coming from to that end, but it just didn't really work out like that. And so far, the global silence is just... It came a little too late. It does not feel, again, you know, I'm always saying this, it does not feel like this is in the S culture like the Super Playbook. We have seen a little silencer work from the tournament, I believe. I don't think it's his first time on the Hero so far, but the global silences, if you compare it to like even an Alexa Jack's global silence, for example, it just doesn't have that same meat to it, I feel like. Sieging up on the T3 here. Getting a bit of the old famous slow siege.
Yeah, there you go.
Matty Boy just loses all of his damage and dies.
Might turn into a quicker siege in a second here.
Nope, no quicker. Viper just annihilated the creep wave. They got nowhere to go.
Oh
But,
my lord. That's it.
Old Naga just getting completely
Oh,
trashed
they're
out
just
here.
crumbling.
Yep, all the buybacks are coming in. Ultra
There's
kill
another
on
one.
Lambert.
And Peaches
Again,
got-
no rampage!
The
Nice.
double rampage still this game. Very sad.
This is why you wanted to see this. You wanted your protest to be known to the public. Yeah, this is getting awful. Just found farming. I like these guys, man. I like these guys.
I get the kill right there, and I was kind of like, oh, I want to finish off the rampage.
It's a
but
rampage, yeah. We'll call it a
Whatever
rampage.
it's, I like these guys. You're fountain farming them. How could you? Oh, Oh, you hate to see it. Oh, the core is dead again. Oh, the ring on Viper, but again, just not enough. Jack is back.
The clock
And
strikes
GG.
midnight for Sparta.
Radiant's
And so, as the meme and the civilization before it, this is Sparta passes into the history books. Radiant Straits, one more step towards a potential victory here. So, before we go into the post-mortem, here's my analysis of this game. And this is what I was about to say earlier, and I did kind of touch on it. Sparta played way too far out of their playbook in this game. You know, Jackie Chen on Viper, that's nothing too exciting. Slardar with Big Boy, that's nothing too exciting, but I just feel like the way the lineup actually executed these picks, even if they are kind of traditional picks for these guys, it really just... I don't know. Maybe Carp was the glue holding them all together as far as their normal doctrine goes or something. I don't know. I would kind of doubt that. I feel like maybe it was just the idea of, you know, guys, this is the playoffs. We got to play at a different level. We got to shake things up. This was not the good kind of change. This was change for the sake of change. It really kind of went off the path of the way Sparta has been improving over the course of this... Excuse me. Over the course of this series, in my opinion. Unfortunately.
I mean, Beatus was topping the last hit chart, but
Right.
that last hit is put into a Manta, which is decent, but then an Ags, which doesn't do anything for their team.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I
true.
just, I don't see any. I would much rather have seen a Diffusal, a Basher, a Scotty. Like, there's about 15 items that I would have probably purchased before I'd get an Ag scepter there.
Like I said, I think it was just to try and stop the bleeding, and I can see why you would do it in the heat of the moment, though I do agree it was probably not the choice, ultimately, especially with how things panned out. That's the thing with old itemization, right? Is that sometimes there's some items where you just like, you see something, you got a question mark over your head, you gotta see it actually happen before you make the assessment. This time, nah, that wasn't happening. There was nothing happening there. It just did not pan out for them. But yeah, I think Sparta played too far off their normal playbook here. I think they just really didn't lean at their own strengths. They were just, I don't know. They just wanted to try and play like perhaps the other teams in the league did, and it just really did not work out for them. I also feel like Matty Boy as a stand-in here really just did not fit with the team structure at all. Unfortunately for him, he just did not seem to click with these guys ever, and there were just some very obvious just communication breakdowns in the lineup. And I imagine it's probably not that easy to stand in for Sparta, just because, like I said, they're just kind of they're the North Korea of teams. You know, they don't talk to anybody. They stay out of the affairs. Giraffe speaks slash Beatus speaks for them all. That's it. Like Big Boy LaCroix has one thing in the entire LD2L Discord server. It's like a response, an emote response to something I said. And I tagged him. Like Ask Coulter 3, never seen him there. Carp shows up like once in a blue moon. Jackie Chin, like I said, more common to my... So, I understand that these are probably going to be guys that, at least in this moment, you're going to be a little less familiar with. Probably more familiar like Big Boy and Beatus, because they have been in the league for quite a while. I'm not sure Jackie has Culture or Carp. I don't know their background well enough to say that, but yeah. But unfortunately, I don't think Matty as a stand-in really clicked with them here. I feel like it probably would have been better to go for a more dedicated pause 5 as a stand-in, to be honest with you. And yeah, just they just didn't have the cure. You guys picked a lineup that had a strategy that I don't think they really took into enough account until it was too late. I don't think they just realized exactly how you guys were going to be playing this until it was too late, and just the strategy they had already built their house on, it just wasn't there. So yeah, Sparta knocked out. I even got to say my stupid canned like team knocked out line that
Yeah,
that
there
I
you
wrote
go.
for all the teams that made bracket. I actually even wrote one for Lich, but we'll never get to hear it now, so I'll just say it now. And so with that, Lich has finally gone bankrupt. There, pretend I was in the game
There
and
you
said
go.
that. So, this is Sparta. Let's go down the eulogy list. So, this is Sparta as a
I have
team.
a thesis about Sparta.
Let's hear it. Let's hear its
Uh,
Sparta thesis.
I've said this a couple times throughout the season when they started sliding towards the latter half, is that they kind of stomp when they have a team that's worse than they are. I feel like a team that is below them, they can deal with. But the second they face real competition, it's like a guaranteed 0-2.
I don't think it's necessarily a problem being Seal Clippers, because like I said before, even if they weren't able to win against the Backdoor Boys, probably one of the best performances we've seen against them, like probably the best performance of a team that didn't actually win against them. That's a very notable sort of ground to stand on there. Like if you compare them to like
Well,
their Schlark performance,
that's
for
great and
example.
all, but they couldn't beat any top 4 teams
Right.
at all.
The ultimate thing I will say there is I don't think necessarily because when you say a Seal Clubber team, that has a certain token like attached to it. Like it's just somehow in the way they play, in the way their strategy is, they have strategies that work against like the smaller teams, but not against the bigger ones. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I just think this is 5 guys who came in who are already a kind of unlikely team, who built themselves up over the season to a mid-level team, but just weren't able to break past that point. And that's certainly the thing, and that was what I was going to say here. I think Lich overall as a team is probably most improved of the season, but it's a pretty close contest for the next slot, right? I think Sparta very good contender for that position. I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the season that this is Sparta was going to make bracket, I would have looked at you like you had two heads. You know, the fact that they got
No.
this far, very very big thing for them. You know, and that's just the thing. They ultimately didn't get too far in it, but as far as the actual players involved, as far as the actual team strategy as well, there's definitely a notable improvement from, point A to point B there. So there is that. I feel like, you know, in future seasons, a lot of these guys are going to be really heavily on the menu, right? A lot of these guys are definitely going to be uh, would-be picks. While the organization didn't work, you could definitely feel the improvement there, and you just know that in another season, with some more time off the field, give them a little bit of time between this season and the next season. I feel like all 5 of these guys really could really show you something interesting in season 13, right? That's
Right.
my theory anyway. I don't think you can really write it off as a seal clubbing organization. I just think, especially the core side of the affair, is just a little above that pay grade. So it just, you know, it you're a doctor, right? I feel like the symptoms match up to the disease in some ways, but there's just enough signs pointing elsewhere that I do feel like,
Essentially,
the real conclusion is they just got overmatched.
it's just hard for me to argue with the results.
Right. Hey, it's easy for me because I look at the background behind said results.
Sure.
I'm just that much better than you, Randy.
Yeah.
That's a joke, which is why Randy's gonna kill me the second the stream ends. Anyway, so player rundown. Last time we did this in 1 to 5. This time let's just do it 5 to 1. Carp, Carp, man, you had a pretty heavy season, Carp. You had a lot of things a lot of things working against you this season. You're really on a comp that didn't much sort of almost care for their supports, if that makes sense. Not to say that they like let them die or whatever. It's just that they were on a comp where the supports were very much their name. You and Ask Ultra as well were definitely in a scenario where they were picking you guys with just the sole intent to just sort of buff up one of these guys in particular, usually Beatus, right? I think Carp is like one of the most common ogres in the league, for example, and pretty much every time he's just pick free, right?
Right.
So he had a pretty tough season. It's hard to say as a result much on his affair, except, man, it sure is tangible when he's not around, right? It sure is a tangible difference. I wonder if it would have looked as bad if Carp was actually here. I feel like potentially maybe. I feel like with Carp here, it still probably goes to Radiant Straits, but I feel like Sparta could at least get one edge out there with the whole gang maybe.
Yeah, maybe I would have to see how the dynamics are like in the actual, communication, backstage
Yeah,
and all, because
to a degree, yeah.
this is a pretty bad crumble. I feel like a pause 5 isn't the only piece that
Oh
needs
no,
to be
no,
there
don't
for
get
a
me
crumble to
wrong,
be this
but
bad.
Well, on the other hand, I do feel like a crumble is always exacerbated. I mean, Lambert, you can speak to this yourself. You've experienced that. A crumble is always kind of exacerbated when you have the stand-ins in there, I think, especially when they don't really fit that well into the team dynamic. Which again is no knock on Matty Boy. He just didn't work well with them, I don't think, and you saw visibly some sort of communication-ish there. But
Yeah, we were lucky. We were able to get a scrim in with Peaches before we played.
Yep.
I believe for our stand-in, which obviously makes the stand-in process that much easier. But we've also, like you said, we've been. I think we've played 3 series total with our entire lineup
Right.
over the course of this entire season. So like when it comes to stand-ins, we're kind of adapted to it. But yeah, you can definitely notice when the other team has one.
Right. Like I said, I feel like having their 5 at the very least would have been like their traditional 5 would have definitely given them an advantage. It is unfortunate. And again, no slight on Matty Boy. I mean, the guy himself literally just told me I don't even play 5, so you know. So, to that end, no slight on Matty, just didn't fit. As Culture 3, I think one of the guys I think that sort of visibly most improved over the actual season, as far as individuals go, is As Culture 3. Like, at the start of the season, As Culture 3 was probably, like, if he wasn't the worst support in the entire league, he's probably bottom 3, bottom 5, if you're being really generous. But I think the experience here has really gone a long way for the dude. He's still sub 1K MMR. I feel like if he's putting ranked hours in off season, he's definitely going to boost that up. I think it just visibly did him a lot of good. I think laning with Big Boy was in particular just a good experience for him. And like I said in game 1, you really know you're going somewhere when you're sub 1K, and yet the enemy team is still banning out your
Right.
heroes, right? So as far as Culture 3 goes, buddy, you're in the right place, you're in the right mindset, you're doing good. Keep showing up season over season, keep trying to lean into your strengths, because you're finding them. Keep trying to lean into your strengths, and you are in the right place, you will go places. I already think you're a pretty high value pick. Like if I'm a drafter next season and I'm looking for like, okay, I need somebody with fairly low MMR that I'm still going to be able to trust to a relative degree, you're probably one of the top supports on that list, right? Especially of that like sub 1K bracket. Not like sub 1K matters that much because everybody there rounds up to 1K, but if I'm looking for a value pick, even though you're not yourself 1K, you're definitely up there in my book, frankly. So, yeah, I think he did a good job this season of improving, just getting better game over game. And again, like I said, just to reiterate, I think that goes for Sparta in general. I mean, like I said before, like I'll say again, week 1, Sparta, worst team in the league, and it wasn't even close. They were making such dramatic, disastrous plays. It was hard to watch. It was hard to think about, really. And like, when they started actually getting the act together, when they started practicing more, I think, when they started figuring out where the strengths lied, it definitely saw a lot of improvement there, and I think S Culture 3 really embodies that the most of anyone, right? Big boy LaCroix, big box LaCroix, big boix LaCroix, I gotta get them all out one last time. Brother man, you did great this season. Not great this game, unfortunately, but you were the in spite of king. I think, to be honest with you, well, I was gonna say it for Jackie, but I'll say it now. I think Jackie kind of sucks ass at picking threes for you, brother.
Wow.
I don't think he's very good at. Okay, sucks ass is far. He doesn't suck ass at it. He's just not great at picking threes. I don't think he really has a great a great idea of how you in particular are going to line up with this team, how you in particular are going to go with, especially your relationship with the Beatus, which started out, let's just be frank, started out very rocky. I mean, how many of those early Sparta games did you just look and, Big Boy LaCroix was sitting on like 3 or 4K net worth over Giraffe, right?
Yep.
But once it did improve. There was a visible improvement in the drafting for Sparta at the very least. I still don't think it ever got there where it needed to be, especially for how much the team was being built around you. But You are the in spite of king. I feel like the best thing I have to say to you, it's something I'm saying to a lot of the pause 3 and these little post-mortem reports, right? Brother, you got to speak up. You got to speak out. You got to say what you think is going to go well with your lineup. You got to say what you think is going to go well in contrast to what the enemy teams bring into the table. You know what I mean?
Hey, he could be driving the bus here. He
He
could be
could
picking
be,
for
I
himself.
guess. You can't necessarily say that. And if that's the case, then you definitely need to work on your own hero drafts, to be frank with you.
I think drafting cohesion is definitely a difficult thing to understand.
Right, it is. But I feel like for a Pods 3, there are some definitive given rules. Like, one thing for sure, if the enemy team's Pods 2 is already on the field, you always want to be countering to that. Because mid-game, it's going to be your responsibility to make sure the 2 isn't walking all over you here. And in this game, the 2 was walking all over Big Boy LaCroix, and that's the opposite of what you want to happen.
Shout out to Princess not dying this entire series.
Oh, yeah, that's true. 0 deaths.
Zero death series.
Yo, I thought Princess wasn't a good player at mid. What happened to that?
He's not.
Oh, okay, got it. Jackie Chen, brother, you did improve as a captain, I think. Like I said, you know, the improvement is going to be top to bottom when it's to this degree. There was, I think, you definitely realized, I think, early on, what wasn't working to the degree it wasn't working. Changed around things. You got better on the drafting. Again, I think there's definitely room for improvement if you captain again. You got better on the drafting. I think you got better in some of your mid work. Your personal pool could use some work. That's the biggest thing I gotta say. Didge over on the NWA is a very similar problem, kind of like a relatively narrow pool of heroes. With Jackie Chen, you pretty much know what to expect. If there's like good room for a Viper, he's gonna be a Viper. You know, that sort of thing, right? Um, that could always be, but that's pretty much the case for every 2 in the league almost. The thing I would definitely say is when you're off, right, between seasons, if you want to captain again, be doing some captain's mode. Show up in some other leagues, for example, right? Just do what you can to keep your mind on picks, on bans, and all that. I think it could be because as a player, you're definitely good. You know, if you're not a captain next season, I'm drafting. You're definitely one of the ones on the short list. I think as far as play goes.
One thing I would say is play for your items. If you're a Viper with bots at 12 minutes, don't sit mid.
Yeah, there's
that was
also
one thing that we were very happy when we noticed that you had bots and you were just pushing out the mid wave. That's 2,000 gold doing nothing. So
yeah, there is itemization. I think there's a little itemization on everybody. I think there's a lot of just buying the what the guide tells you to build sort of things here. Like for example, you know, when I play Viper, I usually play Viper 3. I can tell you this much this game. The ATS, that's good. That does good work against the Razor. It can do some harm to the Windrunner, right? Things of that nature. I certainly would have gone for the Gleep before the bots, just to double down on that, because a big AoE.
If not Glepnir, then Hurricane Pike.
Right.
You need one of the two.
I never, to be honest with you, I never like building Hurricane Harbor Pike on old Viper. I mean, it's like it's like getting BKB on a core, especially under 1. It's like you do it when you need to do it. You never want to do it. Nobody ever wakes up in the morning and says, "Oh boy, I want to buy BKB." I mean, you didn't want to buy BKB so much that you lost a round against the Backdoor Boys just because you refused to ever get it. For God's sake.
We were throwing. What are you talking
You
about?
were throwing, yeah. But yeah, it's like that's Hurricane Harbor Pike on Viper. It's like you get if you super need it. In this game, did he super need it? I mean, I think it would have been a very utility purchase because I think a Hurricane Pike in this game would have been more often used to like push you away or like push Princess away rather than doing anything particularly useful offensively.
I mean, Hurricane Pike, it breaks links. It can get you outside of a Ravage. It gets you out of Cogs. You can get away from a link if you get it off beforehand.
The question with the Cogs, of course, being is, does Viper necessarily want to get out of Cogs? He's one of the better guys to be in there if you...
battery assaulted.
Well, he certainly can attack if he's already got a little pit around him.
He's getting stun locked though.
Well, you're gonna if you're
Sure, it's still
seeing it
not
coming.
good to be inside cogs as Viper. You're not like,
Well,
yeah, I really want
well-
to be in the cogs.
Yeah, nobody wants to be in the cogs. It's like if somebody on Sparta has to be in cogs, Viper is your guy. And
Well, I would
Clockwork
prefer
can
having no one in
Clockwork can
cogs.
beat
Like
Clockwork can beat
out.
him up. Clockwork can beat him
Or
up,
you
but
or staff and not have anyone in cogs. Like Randy was saying.
well, the problem is with Hurricane Pike is that if you Hurricane Pike Clockwork, then he's no longer in cogs, and you really want Clockwork to be
Or
in
you
the
pike
cogs
yourself.
if you're Sparta.
Yeah, you just
You
cap
pike
it.
yourself as well, but then you got no offensive capability on it. It's a fucked up situation, is what I'm saying. Personally, if I'm Viper, I'm well inviting him. That again, I play 3 Viper. I'm well inviting the cogs. I'm saying Clockwork, come get me, brother, because I'm confident I can win the fight. I'm confident I can just make him really pay for it. Not really sweat much myself, but then that's just the way I build, the way I play, all that sort of thing. Anyway, point of the matter is, yeah, Jackie, I think he's good for his MMR bracket. If you're looking at a mid that's going to overperform for his MMR, Jackie Chen definitely up there. So and that's something that's very hard to come by in the LD2. At least it was this season. You know, everybody's scrambling for those mids. Some of them had to accept less than optimal circumstances, I think, with the mids as well. Anyway, finally you got Beatus, you got Giraffe. I think the biggest thing I could say to you is actually the biggest thing I said to Big Boy LaCroix as well. Be more assertive, brother. Be more assertive. Let your voice get out there. Lambert, got a question for you, brother. If you were noticing after every game, Ladle Lads had more last hits and more GPM than you, if you noticed, he was like taking camps from you and stuff like that to try and keep his own farm going and all that, right? What would you say to him about it?
Ping him. I'd ping the shit out of him in game.
Well, you'd ping him, but you know, after the match, you know,
What happened? I don't know. I don't know how to. You just.
don't die, brother.
I had sunflower seed. I mean, you gotta point out the impacts. Like if you set like. Item timings are definitely one of the strongest points of Dota. And if there's a point where you're like, you farmed these 3 camps, I didn't have a BKB, I died because of I got stunned. If I had had a BKB, we would have won this fight, triple killed, taken 2 towers. Like, showing an exact example is always the best way to communicate any idea.
Right. Giraffe, the first half of this season, Giraffe was just looking at constant games where, and you know, it's not even necessarily like what I'm saying equals you have to go out, you have to farm like a son of a bitch, you have to get every single creep in the world, you have to be playing a late game guy. That's not even what I mean. You know, it's just that even if you're an early game, like an early game focus carry, right? Even if you're a really early pause 1 sort of situation, you still probably want to be in first place overall. It doesn't necessarily have to be that much. I mean, just look at the Radiant Straits gold split, for example. You know, Lambert just 1k ahead of Princess here. I mean, almost 2, but, you know, point still stands.
Different heroes need to farm at different times.
Right.
I knew Princess needed to hit a timing at about 16 minutes, so I was sitting mid, pushing out the wave, taking aggro bottom, and letting Princess hit creeps.
Right.
Because he needed to get Blink and Maelstrom, and then after that, he just hit heroes, and I could hit creeps.
Be assertive does not mean, of course, you know, that you pick up literally every red scent on the map. But certainly, I feel like, especially early on the season, it did improve by the end, but I feel like maybe almost went too far in the other direction. In some cases, I feel like this game, great example, actually. Make sure that that your desires as a pause 1 are known. Teams are building around you, man. Teams are building around you, and if you kind of let yourself get walked over like you did sometimes, then you are not going to find success. But on the other hand, when you do get that money, we have seen good things from you. When you do have that opportunity to get out, get some farm, get yourself in great positions, then we have seen results from you. You're no jabroni 1, right? You know, you're not just going to amass a big fortune and then just die on the hill of gold, usually, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, and that's it. That's the ball game. Anything more to say, Randy?
Nothing more from me.
Any words to remember Sparta by?
Yeah. if they had faced only bottom 8 teams, they would have won.
Damn. Any what's the most memorable Sparta moment for you in the tournament?
Most memorable Sparta moment?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
the week where Big Boy LaCroix like slaughtered.
Lich.
I don't remember which week it was. It was one of the weeks, yeah.
You know what I'm gonna remember is that the weird like Jakiro bait
Yeah,
where
yeah, that's a good
Jackie
one too.
denied the invis room for some reason. Well, Lambert, any parting words? If this is Sparta's funeral, what's your eulogy?
Oh.
As
You
the
mean
man who personally killed them. The Jackie Chen's wife is sitting in the audience and she is bawling her eyes out. The man who murdered her husband is had his funeral talking. What are you saying?
I don't think I'd be talking.
Oh no, you're talking. All right, you're talking.
I'd say they went down. They put up a good fight. There were definitely a few times where they could have probably GG'd out, and they decided we'll take another fight, and then we'll try like one more two. Like
They didn't
they
roll
were
over.
no, exactly. They were in there, and they were still there at the end of the game. So we'll see them next year.
Yeah, the exact same lineup, just like the
Probably
GGs
not.
versus 1984 last.
I don't think that's possible. I know teams specifically don't let that happen. Multiple captains that actively attempt to destroy that build, but
Nobody stopped it with the GGs.
I think everybody here will be back next season, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it seems to me, like, if looking back at the season list, it seems like to me, season over season, there tends to be historically a lot of loss of players between seasons. And, some queuing out, and that's a good thing, obviously. That's the ultimate goal of the Learn Dota 2 League is to not have to be in the Learn Dota 2 League anymore. Pay attention, Manoy! The ultimate goal of the Learn Dota 2 League is to not have to be in the LD2L anymore. So to that end, that's good. But you also do see a lot of people just kind of dropping out randomly, I feel like. But it seems to me like that's just not going to be the case going into next season. It seems like even the guys who had like a lot of bad seasons are still at least like I know Spaz on in Magician tournaments said at the very least then he wanted to get it, to go another round, to go another season, for example. And I think Spaz could over deliver next season compared to what people probably expected out of the guy. But probably not as a captain, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to be captaining again. As an example, yeah, I do think it's good. I do hope to see a lot of these people in the next season. I think there's definitely still room to learn for some of these guys, but it's just a very good sign of progress so far, even if ultimately success ended up eluding them probably more than they wanted it to. So, yeah. Well, while they can't be feeling that great about failing to put even a single hole in the Radiant Straits boat, at the very least, the fact that they were able to be in this contention, I think it's good signs there. So yeah, that's me. That's Randy. That's say goodbye, Randy,
Goodbye.
and say goodbye, Lambert. Maybe next time you'll cast a game you weren't fucking in, huh?
Goodbye.
So, if you or somebody you know wants to learn Dota 2 at a casual or more competitive level, go to ld2l.gg. That's ld2l.gg. It's too late to sign up for this season, obviously, because we're in the middle of goddamn playoffs. If you think you're getting in now, you're insane, but it is never too late to be a stand-in. Well, it actually kind of might be, because I feel like most of the stand-ins moving forward here are going to be guys who've already kind of shown themselves earlier in the tournament, as we can see both MF Doomed alumni and NWA alumni on both teams here. But, you might still get in anyway if they're just looking for a certain role. Hard to say. And, I mean, certainly, after this experiment, I don't think anybody's going to be drafting off roles as prominently. So, if you're like a 5, I know 2s are in very high demand as far as stand-ins go. 3s as well. Seems like there's a 3 missing basically every week. So, you can still stand in, perhaps. You're just going to have to make good friends, elbow grease your way in, or just know somebody already and just get on the nepotism hire. It's always fun. And, yeah, that's the ball game. But before we go, there's something that's been on my mind recently. Hey, Randy.
Is this gonna be the stupid fake sponsor message?
What, a fake sponsor? Us? Never. Anyway, so I was going out to my old automobile recently, and I opened up my little hubcap, right? I opened up my little gas can and I looked inside, and the smell hit me instantly. And I just knew instantly that my gas tank and my oil were both full of this disgusting foreign diesel product, right? It was horrific. But there is something good for this story though, right? It doesn't end in tragedy because it turns out there was a local station that supplied Standard Oil. That's right, Standard Oil of the
Wow.
United States of America. It once I started using Standard Oil products, I could throw my horse and carriage away. I never had to take the express line ever again, and I'm sure if you're feeling particularly adventurous, you could probably drive all the way from British Malaysia to French Indochina on one tank of that gas. So you would have to stop multiple times along the way because the colonial governments haven't actually put in any roads yet. I mean, it's pretty insane stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds great.
I know you were considering putting some Standard oil and Standard Oil gas in your Zeppelin.
Yeah. I was really thinking about that.
Come on, Randy, they're the sponsor. Can't you at least pretend to be excited?
I'm pretty excited, dude. This is how I sound when I'm excited.
Oh yeah? Well,
I
how do
hear
you
it.
sound when you're bored?
The same.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, see, there you go. There you go. Yep, Standard Oil, Standard Gasoline, live forever, hopefully. I know that that blasted President Roosevelt has been thinking about breaking it up, but I say, nope, Standard Oil forever. And yeah, that's it. See you next time, everybody.